Well, it's Christmas again, and here I am buying cards, and they've got to be Welsh, of course. Well, we're all familiar with the traditional Christmas card picture of baby Jesus in a manger with Joseph and Mary, the shepherds and the wise men, all the animals around and the stars shining above. But what are we really celebrating? There are plenty of arguments that could demolish that fanciful nativity picture where Jesus was born in a stable. He could have been born in a house. And Joseph and Mary, they were probably not rejected by a group of men that kept bed and breakfast or hotels in Bethlehem. The shepherds and the wise men didn't visit the family at the same time, and there's no actual evidence that it was only 3 wise men. There's no evidence to suggest that Jesus' birth was on December the 25th. Some Christian traditions, they celebrate it on January the 7th. And there's some evidence to suggest that Jesus was born either in the springtime or maybe September or October. Fairly certain that Jesus was born in the year 5 or maybe 6 BC, that's before Christ. And we talk about the miracle of the virgin birth, but there was nothing miraculous about the birth itself. So is there anything left to celebrate? Yes, certainly. Christmas reminds us of some of the most wonderful truths of our faith. The fact that God came to earth as a fragile human being to die for us and to offer us new life. The danger is that we're so familiar with a traditional story that we lose sight of the amazing wonder of what actually happened. That the Word, God Himself, became a person of flesh and blood. Virgin birth, we say. But the actual miracle happened 9 months earlier when the Holy Spirit came down on a young girl called Mary and caused her to conceive. Her response to the angel that told her what was going to happen was, how can such a thing happen? Because I never slept with a man. And then an angel had to persuade Joseph as well that a miracle had happened. The angel told him to call the baby Jesus because he would save his people from their sins. This is the good news that we celebrate, that the little child that was born in Bethlehem was Emmanuel, God with us. Some people argue that Christmas is a pagan festival that's been Christianized. Well, yes and no. Many of our traditions have pagan roots, candles, mistletoe, Christmas trees and so on. But it's not the origins of those traditions that matter, but what's the significance of them for us today? Christmas, unfortunately, has turned into a materialistic, secular festival. What we need to ask ourselves is, what motivates me to celebrate? A secular festival with pagan roots? Maybe. But as Christians, we celebrate Christmas because Jesus is good news. He's good news to everyone worldwide. He's good news because we need God's forgiveness. We need to be saved. We light up our trees and our homes and our streets because Jesus is the light of the world. As Paul says in 2 Corinthians chapter 1, Jesus is God's ultimate yes. He is the one that fulfills all of God's promises.